Hey everyone, it's Byron. Again, I'm here to testify for Jesus Christ. Today starts what I will call an official kickoff. The kickoff is I am going to begin going through some things pertaining to the Steve Perkins case, as the case is coming up for trial. And I will be going over those things to present a picture from my point of view and how I have seen that, and also from how the Lord has shown me that. I was tasked to do this by God, the Father of Jesus Christ, so I will be doing it like that. And I wanted to just warn you up front. If you like this video on Facebook, or perhaps even if you like it on YouTube or anywhere else it may be, or make a comment on the matter, I fixed my friends list so it's private. So no one can see who likes something or who doesn't unless they like it. And then people may be able to see it. There are people, their job in life is to go behind somebody trying to tell the truth and say something to counter the truth. They'll do it in a split second. So I'm going to do that. And my job here, the way the Lord showed it to me, is to try to preserve lives in Decatur, Alabama. And I'm going to give you a real quick example. I spoke at one city council meeting in Decatur, Alabama that occurred, and they've been happening ever since the case that started in, I think it's January 29th, perhaps, of 2023. I spoke at one sometime after 9th of November. And the bottom line that I was saying is I was encouraging people, don't get caught around people that could do something extremely stupid. There are people in life, and I've done some videos here lately, and you can see them on Facebook, you can see them on YouTube. There are people that exist in life, and their whole purpose is to perhaps cause chaos or cause a disruption. Their minds, I don't know if God created them just for creating problems or not, but their minds cannot get wrapped around certain information, and they will continually do stupid things all the time. So if you were to be invited to a protest, you have to think, okay, how are these people being screened that participate in this protest? Because as soon as one person does something extremely dumb, it could set off a chain reaction. And after the chain reaction's over with, a lot of people could be hurt. A lot of people. I just want to tell you this, that I live here in Decatur, Alabama. There were protests going on in the Steve Perkins case. My father and my mother got disrupted in their travels. My sister got disrupted in my travels. Now, if I was the kind of person that would take retribution for something, I could have ran my car right through protesters, as happened in New Orleans. I could have done that. It's very easy. There was people, and I'll just mention this, the NAAC president, Rodney Gordon, he was basically telling people, get in the street, block the street, blah, There's people you don't want to be around when the potential of something bad could happen, because that person lacks the ability to process information correctly enough that they would make sure your safety and your children's safety would be guaranteed. That's how certain people's minds work. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There was a gentleman over there. He was in a struggle with police. He had a pistol in his pocket. He ended up getting shot in a struggle for possession of his pistol. I think the officers drew their guns eventually and fired. In the aftermath of that case, a man showed up with a rifle, and he started shooting at a local gas station and killed, I think I don't know. I don't know the exact totals, but I believe it was up to 5 people injured, some of which were police. And he was a black man firing, quote unquote, what we would say is in defense of black people because a black person is the one who got killed. But he killed my black friend's cousin or relative of that type. So you would think, well, we're going to all be down here together. We're going to be doing this. You got people that cannot think correctly. They can't process things correctly. The same thing. I mean, I used to go hunting with my dad. My dad taught me about gun safety when I was young. And my dad told me, dude, I'm talking about when I had a BB gun in my hand, maybe even before that. My dad said, son, don't ever go with somebody you don't trust. Don't ever go with somebody you hadn't seen them perform. Don't go with a stranger. And this happened. I took a guy later on in life. I took a guy with me. He showed up kind of for the fun of it. He had a shotgun that would shoot by itself. Like when he loaded the bullet into the gun, it was just when that gun decided to shoot, it would shoot. And then I realized, man, wait a minute, what my dad said is true. You can't trust people walking around on the streets. So I'm not talking to the guys who want to lead a protest. I'm not talking to the guys who are, they're going to get profits from a protest. I'm talking to the people whose lives can be saved by not participating in these things that potentially could happen in the future, who you can't trust. There's certain things, like here's a good example. The incident happened with Steve Perkins. For some reason, I want to say November 23rd, maybe November 29th sometime. Maybe I'll put it on the screen here so we'll know. There were protests in Decatur, Alabama at the time, and the protests consisted of people saying, I'll cover this all in follow-up videos. But the protest consisted of people saying words to the effect, Steve didn't have a gun, Steve had a flashlight, his hands were up in the air, etc. And these protests continued on for quite some time. And I produced a video on November the 9th. I think I titled the video something like, Who Shot First? Because I could look at the video and I could see in the thing, and it's available on YouTube. Look at November 9th, 2023. It's available on YouTube at Juniper Tree and Beyond. Juniper Tree and Beyond. It's also available on Facebook. I'm Byron Eccles. Byron Eccles something. I don't know how you find it on Facebook, but I'm there. I'll be the one with the bald head and the black glasses. Or at least I got some picture. But anyway, what you got to realize is there's people in positions that can't process information correctly. And in addition to that, there are organizations. There are organizations working to cause civil unrest. So whereas you might think, well, let me take a side in the Steve Perkins case, the real overall big picture isn't about the Steve Perkins case. It's about finding something that we can stir civil unrest up and get folks to fighting against each other so that we can then suspend the Constitution and change the government to the point that we can now dictate to you guys out there in the streets like me, here's your new government, and here's how it's going to run, and here's going to be your religion, etc. Now, I said those things to tell you this. Over the course of the years, and I'll continue to share these things throughout these videos coming up, but over the course of the years, the Lord's shown me certain organizations are going to dictate your religion. They're going to try to they're going to come in and try to indoctrinate you. And I can tell you the very number one thing to watch for. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when they can cause enough civil unrest to suspend the Constitution. There's an organization at high level. Some people call it the Illuminati. Some people call it the Learned Elders of Zion. Jesus told them, your father is a devil. They've been around for some time. They run Freemasonry. They run Scottish Rite Freemasonry. They run Prince Hall Freemasonry. They run York Rite Freemasonry. So they, at the high levels, at the highest level, they control all of Freemasonry. Once the Lord showed me that they're going to indoctrinate you through, you go and you sit down in a particular um, auditorium, and you start told, I used to think like you, and I used to worship Jesus Christ and do this kind of stuff, but then I considered something different, and I started doing it this way. And I'm going to tell you that one thing: every Freemason has called another man most worshipful Grand Master. When you begin to call another man most worshipful Grand Master, then you are also more, you could come to the point not only where you would call a man most worshipful Grand Master, which just so happens to be the Antichrist, but you would teach other people to call the Antichrist most worshipful Grand Master. Dude, we are here. The United States is here, and there's a two-stage process that's going to happen here. Number one, most all people in the United States thinks the United States is going to last forever. But there's two stages that are going to happen. One is the civil unrest, the suspension of the Constitution, the changing of religious beliefs, etc., or the forced changing of religious beliefs. And Christians within the United States are going to be persecuted. Unfortunately, you have people around you who've seen some of my videos where I have told them this, and they haven't lifted a finger to share it with you. But you need to know these things. Also, you need to realize you will see, as a Christian, you will see familiar faces in the crowd of people who are enjoying seeing you get persecuted. Once I was in a dream, I was being chained up to a pole to be whipped, and I looked in the crowd. I could see a lady I've known since I was in diapers. I'm like, holy cow. That's stage one. Stage two is going to be the destruction of the United States, and it's going to happen fast. The people in the United States who do this to Christians, their attitude is going to be, no, we're going to live forever. We got it set up the way we want it. And then they're going to lose it. I'm going to go over some stuff. I'm going to show you an opposite side of some information on the Steve Perkins case that you haven't been seeing from news media and social media posts and things like that. The most obvious thing should be is that you had what is called community leaders in Decatur, Alabama, marching you and marching your children in harm's way, confidently thinking, well, this march is justified because Steve was totally innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have a gun. If he shot anything, it was a flashlight, etc. And then November the 9th, I put out my video showing where you could see the flashlight just all around the officers, like he was aiming the flashlight right at the officer. And then body cam footage came out, and body cam footage showed the same thing. So the public videos that were produced that community leaders used to charge up the crowds and get them out there blocking traffic, and you block enough of my family members, you may put yourself in that position where I go berserk, and then it's no good for you. So you don't want to follow these people who's already been dragging you through the streets, and they were wrong the whole time. Eventually, some of them say, oh, I don't care if what it was about. He shouldn't have been shot. And maybe that's the case, but that is not to be dictated in the streets where the blood of your children gets spilled. It's not about that. This is about trying to get you to not engage in hostile actions, to not engage in actions that would have you carrying a weapon, and would get you to not engage in actions that would present crowd control issues. The way it was shown to me, I was holding an empty pistol by a police officer, and then assisting in crowd control. I don't think I'm going to physically be there at the time. I think these videos are going to do that. I don't want people dying. I got friends, man. The one thing that the community leaders will do if they see this video, they're going to start saying I'm racist. That's the only way they can justify their positions, is just call people racist that present another side. Um, but like I already said, the lady, my friend in Baton Rouge, whose relative got shot by a black man trying to, I guess he was trying to hit white people. I don't know. Um, she was black and a friend of mine. I'm still friends with her on Facebook. Another lady, the longest interview I ever did, I was interviewing people, and I've done that in several different jobs and all. The longest interview that I ever did was with a black lady, and it's because I was having so much freaking fun. I have black men call me at my house. They say, "Can you see what this fool is doing?" And I've got two black men that have told me, "Byron, this is like we being raised in dysfunctional families, and this happens, man. This is why people are so gullible, and they get led around very easily by people who don't have the mental capacity to grasp all the information." So this is the first video, just putting it out there, trying to get things rolling. If you are on my friends list or whatever on Facebook, and you click like, or you put in a comment, you do anything like that, um, the evil hordes may do something in retribution on social media too. You can easily block them, do whatever you got to do. I've blocked them and unblocked them and done this and done that. Um, but the bottom line is, this thing needs to go to trial, and it needs to be tried like a normal case. And you don't need to lose your life, nor do you need to encourage others to lose their life in trying to coerce a justice system into a verdict that may not be justice. Justice is not like, you decide, well, I'm going to have justice for, in this case, Steve Perkins. Justice is supposed to look at all the information and make a decision of what is correct. And if the family of Steve Perkins end up feeling like they didn't get justice, the case still got justice. They just wanted something else to happen. And there's been actions, and I'm going to cover those. There's been actions by the family that are contradictory to good faith, contradictory to putting out accurate information. There's even cases I'm going to bring up, or situations I'm going to bring up, where very easily family members and also community leaders could have done something early on to prevent this from even happening. As a matter of fact, I'll mention this now. I challenge anyone to show me a video or any kind of instructional class that you can have proof to show where the NAACP leader of Decatur, Alabama, Rodney Gordon, did anything to educate young people, to educate people on the correct handling of firearms, and that if you live by the sword, which is a firearm these days, it's very possible you can die by the sword. I'm not making a threat. I'm telling you just straight up. This is how life is. And finally, since I made that comment, I'll follow it up with this. Two dreams over the past X number of years. I was praying for black men, black people, because they were being, retribution from white people was so great. Now that's not, this video is not telling everything I know. This video is not telling everything that, and give you a picture, but I'm telling you, you are being egged on, encouraged to do something, civil unrest. And thus far, it's been relatively an easy go. But you can even look at Rodney Gordon, the NAACP president. You can go back and look through his history. He has been saying it's going to get rough. Will you still be doing it when it gets rough? It's coming. That is, they are, they're Freemasons. Rodney's a Freemason. Freemasonry is, at high levels, they're working this. They're running the show as far as these protests goes, trying to suspend the Constitution, get to the point where they can tell you, you need to worship a most worshipful Grandmaster, and then they're going to bring in the Antichrist. So, That's the first video. Just trying to warn you. And you know, the, the funny thing, I want to just say this up front. I'll probably say this very often. Um, Sometimes somebody does something and it hurts our feelings. It bothers us. You know, like if you're an employer or if you're a manager at a job and you realize this guy's got to change how he's doing things, he's too slow or whatever. I had a manager one time that told me, he said, if you're going to make a correction on anyone, before you make the correction, think it through and make sure you're prepared for them to pout for 2 weeks. Because if you're not prepared for them to pout for 2 weeks, you might not want to make the correction. I'm prepared for pouting about these videos and stuff like that. I don't live my life. I live the life that God gave me. I laid down my life so that perhaps your life will extend past this civil unrest that's coming up. Because I can tell you this, it's been demonstrated that there are community leaders in Decatur, Alabama, and this is going to go throughout the United States, but there are community leaders in Decatur, Alabama. To them, you are just somebody to get them to perhaps draw a paycheck by causing civil unrest. That's what you mean to them. Your blood on the street to them gets them a merit in their secret organization. So, you know, if you don't like that, go ahead and take your 2 weeks and pout. Continue to listen to me or turn me off. It doesn't matter to me because I have one thing. I mean, God has me right here. I have one option. Do what he says or do what he says. And that's what I'm doing. So I'll let you go. Thanks.